hand in. Okay, there we go.
It'll take a second to load up.
Okay.
You might need to tighten
yes.
back here a little
Yeah,
bit.
it could use a little bit. It's dripping down on my head a little.
Yeah.
Got it. Oh, that's perfect now.
Good?
Oh yeah, here we've got the Oculus.
Headsets on this way and then photos along the wall.
Oh,
So
that's
feel free to take a
fantastic.
look
That's
around.
amazing. Yeah.
And then over here we've got the Nintendo Game Boy.
Yeah. So what's happening in that?
Gives you a headache in 0 to 3 seconds. Virtual Boy. I remember
Yep.
I actually worked on.
I'm so glad you know because we were like, oh, we should have labels on it.
Now this actually I was doing video walls at the time for conventions when they brought this out, so I got to play with it early on, and I also got to play with the Sega, which never got released, which that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And then what is this one here?
That one should be. That one might be the Sega. I know we had one that was the Sega.
Yeah, that's what where I'm.
Okay. Just hold it steady and take it.
Yep.
Okay.
Recording.
Am I recording?
Yep.
Okay. We're here at AWE for the second day, and we're here with Jeremy. Jeremy, Al, how are you?
Wonderful to meet you, Al. Really well, thanks.
Good, good. Now, I understand that you're putting together a book about VR, AR. Tell me more about this.
Yeah, it's really a book that recognizes the rich history of the technology. Because I know we're super excited about the present, we're thinking about the future, but there are too few people that think about the past. And not just the recent past, I'm not even talking about the 90s, not even talking about the 1900s, but this type of technology, if you think about the objective of virtual reality, to immerse ourselves in a different world, in a different place, in a different time, that objective has been with humanity for 1,000 years plus now. So my book tackles that sort of point. It's entitled The 1,000-Year Quest for Virtual Reality, and it talks about humanity's drive in trying to get us immersed in these different places through all sorts of technology that lead up to the head-mounted displays that we have today.
Yes, I feel when VR first came out, I've been doing it now for about 13 years. And when it first came out, I realized immediately that it was 3D's best friend and jumped on board. What do you feel are the biggest highlights up to date?
Throughout history?
Yes.
So why don't we start
There's
with...
so many, but...
Why don't we start with the 1,000-year mark? So about 1,000 years ago, there was an Arab mathematician called Ibn al-Haytham, and he examined this optical phenomenon known now as camera obscura, which is Latin for dark chamber.
Right.
But ultimately, if you enter a completely dark room and you make a little pinhole of light to the outside world, you will see a projection of the outside world onto the back of the room facing the pinhole.
Right.
And that optical phenomenon grew. We started to first learn about how light works. Lenses came into it. This was how the camera was then created using the same sort of mechanics. Then, of course, camera led to film. Then we started talking about 3D photos, and stereoscopic technology came out in the 1800s, or was discovered in the 1800s and examined. Then we got stereoscopes, and this was really a key point in virtual reality history. And if you look at those, I'm going to call them head-mounted displays, because that's kind of what they were, even though you did hold them up, so they didn't quite stay on your face. But 2 lenses, 2 images, 1 to each eye. The same technology we use in today's headsets used almost 200 years ago to give you that sense of immersion into different worlds. So that really is a key highlight, I feel, in virtual reality's history.
I totally agree with you. When I'm teaching students about 3D and VR, the first thing I do is I have something covered by a cloth, and when I lift it up, it's a stereoscope, and I say, here's the first VR headset.
Yep.
And I think that really blows their minds, and then showing them, like, the famous one to show them is Lincoln.
Yeah.
And that just like, what? And it totally blows them away.
Well, the funny thing is, a lot of people, especially those new to the industry, still believe that virtual reality started a few years ago.
Yes.
Or started in 2012,
Yeah.
Some people think it started in the 90s. But there's just so much education to be done around how far back the history of this technology goes. And that's really the crux and the point of why I'm writing this book, collecting all this material, displaying it to the public, and hopefully preserving the history for the future.
That's an excellent thing to do, definitely. I'm going to ask you to play another part. I'd like you to pretend you're a modern day Nostradamus. Give me your prediction for the future of VR.
Prediction for
in
the
AR.
future. Okay. Prediction for the future of VR or AR, the headset won't exist. It will be completely transparent technology. And whether we achieve that through some sort of neural interface, I think that is a genuine possibility for the long-term future, or whether we achieve that through perhaps having displays outside that we can call up in an instant, maybe a mini pocket projector. I think there are many ways of going about it, but that is the direction we have to go, because we're not gonna... The wave technology pervades throughout the world is when it becomes unnoticeable and it just blends into the background. So it's very hard to blend a head-mounted display that's on your face into the background. So I think at some point that has to disappear.
I agree. I totally agree. Now, a lot of people say that technology sometimes moves too slow. How do you feel? Has technology moved slowly, or has it really moved very quickly?
Well, I mean, I hate to plug another book that I've written, but
plug away.
I wrote a book called Reality Check, How
Okay.
Immersive Technologies Can Transform Your Business. And I did talk about that point because a lot of people are impatient nowadays. And I decided, well, let's look at other technologies and see how long they took.
Right.
So I looked at technologies like the telephone, like the microwave, like the personal computer. And they took a long time. We're talking about 20, 30 plus years to become mainstream after being made available to consumers. So yes, virtual reality is taking a long time, but is it out of kilter with the history of how long other technologies have taken, especially given how different it is culturally for society to adopt? I don't think so. I think it's on par with what one would expect from the tech.
Well, speaking of time frames and moving fast and moving slow, when can we expect this book to come out?
I would expect it to come out at the end of 2025, early 2026, because I'm still discovering a lot of stuff. I'm digging through libraries in Minnesota. I'm visiting the 3D space here in Los Angeles, and there's a wonderful collection there.
So you've been in touch with Eric?
Yeah, exactly. Eric, yeah. And he's amazing. He's got a real great collection there. So being all over the world trying to piece together all of these bits, and there's still a lot of work to do. So I will keep writing as long as there is material to cover.
Well, there you have it. So keep your eye out for, what's it going to be called again?
This is going to be called the 1,000-Year Quest for virtual reality.
1,000-Year Quest by Jeremy Dalton. Thanks, Jeremy.
Thanks a lot, Al. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, and cut.
Here we go again.
I demand more!
I want it, I need it, and I'm gonna have it.